I'm going to begin, guys, by asking, there's a wonderful sense of camaraderie amongst the characters in the movie. Mm-hmm. And I was wondering if you all had to kind of go out together and spend some time off set, or if it just kind of came really naturally to you, or could we really get a sense of that in the movie too?
We spent a lot of time together, and we all went away on a training for like 3 days when we first got hired with a bunch of former Navy SEALs and former contractors. And it started right then and there. I mean, we have this text chain that we've had since the moment we got together that has been going on for the last 10 months. That's hilarious. And yeah, we all did bond quite well, not just on set but off set as well.
I think one of the things that really comes across on the screen as well is it was a very difficult movie to shoot. Michael works at a very fast pace and demands that you keep up. Mm-hmm. And I think we as actors, the six of us especially, really felt like we were coming together to get through something. And I think that dynamic lends itself to what those guys went through as well.
There's an enormous responsibility when you're telling a story of, a factual story from these guys' point of view, that we really want to make sure that we nail that. And so we were constantly having each other's back and supporting each other, trying to achieve that, on set. So, it was a very supportive group.
I guess it must help when you're shooting abroad too, because it almost, I guess, it sort of feels like a summer camp in some way.
Yeah.
When you're shooting what?
Abroad.
Oh, yeah.
And it's funny because when we got together to do the training, that's, some of us live in LA, and at the time they were like, we want you all to go away together. We're like, but I could just drive home. My wife's there. They're like, no, we want you all to go away. And I think that sort of set a tone where we're like, we're all on this journey together, and that's what it was like when we were overseas.
And was it ever a sort of challenge to, because when you are kind of getting on so well off set and kind of sharing laughs, to then Michael would shout shoot and he'd shout action, and then suddenly you'd all have to be really serious and very profound. Was there ever a kind of challenge to go from being...
No, usually Michael would shout a lot more than action, and so it kind of made it easy to get into the serious vibe, because we knew that he was serious about what he was doing, and we had to raise our game accordingly.
And do you find that it's easier to connect to the characters when you are out there as well on the other side of the world? Because one of the main kind of themes in this movie is missing home, missing family. Mm-hmm. That must have been an emotion that kind of came to you guys quite naturally, I guess.
Yeah, it was challenging. At least for me, my wife and I, she was working out of the country as well, and so we spent 2 months where we didn't see each other, and that's hard on a relationship, and it's hard for these guys. They have the exact same experience when they go away. They're gone for months at a time, and they don't see their families other than through Skype interviews and FaceTime, things like that. It's not easy.
Yeah, it was hard for me as well. I have 2 kids, 7 and 4, and to be away from them for the first 2 months of the shoot. They came for the last month, but to be away from them for 2 months straight was the longest I'd ever been away. And I think that dynamic, you're right, lended itself to what was happening for those guys. There's a great scene in the movie where they're on a Sunday, sitting around on a lazy Sunday, and they all have calls home to their family. And you see kind of how much they miss that dynamic and how much they miss the people. And you get to know a little bit about each of the characters through their family.
A lot of actors who I've interviewed in the past who have played kind of soldiers or people in the military have said that after playing this one, embodying these characters, they've got a newfound respect and a kind of deeper appreciation. Do you find that was the case for you guys as well? That you kind of felt even more kind of respect, I guess, for them, just because of the fact that you've embodied them in some way?
Yeah,
definitely.
Go ahead.
For me, the main thing that I took away is the extraordinary amount of sacrifice that not only the people who are overseas protecting our country make, but the families that are back home in sort of lending their significant others to the cause. To me, the sacrifice was the thing that came across, and I gained a lot of respect for that.
I've always had respect for the military. My brother was in the service for many, many years, and I've always wanted to have the opportunity to bring one of these guys to life, and so for me, I was my respect only grew by being in their shoes.
And there's always sort of pressure on actors, given your jobs are so sort of demanding, but knowing that there are people who went through this in Benghazi and there are people who were at home at the time suffering as well, will be watching this movie. What does that kind of add to this experience? Is that quite nerve-wracking to know, to sort of waiting to hear their thoughts on or have you heard their thoughts on what was that like?
Just makes you want to get it right.
Yeah.
You know, I'm dealing with playing a real life person who actually went through the circumstances that we're portraying on screen. So for me, I'm very interested in making sure that Chris Paranto, nicknamed Tonto, who's the character that I play, I'm very interested in making sure that he is happy with this fictional telling of a very distressful evening in his life.
Yeah, there's a great book that Mitchell Zuckoff wrote that this is based on, and he got so much of it right that we had an amazing template, not just from their personal accounts, but from what the research he was able to do. So I think Michael made the movie that he was trying to make, and we're glad that it happened that way.
Yeah. Thanks so much for your time. It's been a real pleasure.
Thank you.
Cheers. Thank you very
Cheers.
much.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey,